Krishna. Welcome, everyone. Last week I wasn't able to make it. This week I'm still recovering from allergies, so my voice is different. I'm going to be as bassy as possible to reduce the strain on my vocal cords as we do this live stream reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 12 through 15. Let's get right to it. Join me or not in glorifying and invoking the Supreme. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Let us begin, as we almost always do, with the literal translation by H.D. Goswami, aka many other names. But that's how he signed his book, so that's how I'm calling it. So he marked the next verse cluster as 12 through 16, and then 17 and 18, and then Krishna speaks after that. So I'm doing 12 to 15. And then next week, maybe even tomorrow, because I have a day off. Probably not, though. I might take my notes tomorrow. Next time we will do 16, 17, and 18. And that's when Arjuna asks questions to be answered. So these verses, 12 to 15, is Arjuna responding to everything Krishna's been saying. Acknowledging what he's heard. And you'll hear right now what Arjuna says. 12 through 15. Arjuna said, "You are the supreme Brahman, supreme abode, and ultimate purifier, the eternal divine person, capital P, and original God, unborn and almighty. All seers, such as Devarshi, Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas, say this of you, and you, in fact, are personally telling me, Keshava, I accept as true all that you tell me. Neither gods nor demons know your personality, Lord. Only you yourself know yourself by yourself, O Supreme Person, who causes beings to be, Lord of beings, God of gods, Master of the world." Yeah, that sounds so amazing. I wish it was, I think I did the right thing, cutting it off there with these 4 verses, although how Prabhupada chunks these verses is 12 and 13 are together as one verse, and then 14 and then 15. So as you're reading Prabhupada's Gita, it more feels like you're reading 3 verses, actually, which seems to be the standard verse cluster amount. So let us read verses 12 and 13 in English, as translated by Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, "You are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth, and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, proclaim this of you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. Arjuna may be practicing a very simple and effective principle in communication here. That is, repeat what the person has said back to them so they know you were listening and that you understood. My point is that yes, Arjuna is basically just repeating what Lord Krishna has just stated, but more important is why Arjuna is doing that. Arjuna is not competing. He's not trying to say it in a better way. He is clearly glorifying the Lord, while at the same time being a student who shows his teacher that he is paying attention and that he is learning. This point I just made from my notes, it just came to me right after reading the verse yesterday, is confirmed by Srila Prabhupada in the first paragraph, where Prabhupada says, quote, "It is not because Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna that he is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth," unquote. So that's apparently for Prabhupada and myself really important to understand here, is that Arjuna, being a good student at the least, or perhaps or probably an ideal student, is not a sycophant. He's not flattering his teacher. He's not jerking anyone off. Pardon the language, okay, but that's what's happening, and that is what a lot of neophyte, rookie, amateur, noob students and disciples do, because it works. It's the same reason people lie. We lie because it works. Lying helps you get what you want. It's very effective. And that's true with all sinful activity. It really does work. And it works faster than the virtuous, correct way of doing things. But in the end, it does not work as well because there are negative consequences. So across a long time frame, crime does not pay, as the saying goes. A really long purport here, but as far as my notes, we're done. I took no other notes, but I did read the whole purport. Prabhupada ends it by talking about those proud of their academic education stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. So that's definitely not what we want to do. That's not what Arjuna is doing. Arjuna is saying, wow, Krishna, you have said you're the supreme person, and I accept this as true. And Arjuna is purified by doing that, and we are too. Arjuna is also practicing smaranam, remembering or the constant thinking of Krishna, one of the primary methods of devotional service. An interesting point, Prabhupada says, Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. So that's like one level deeper into the same bhav I was talking about earlier, where Arjuna is not flattering Krishna. But not only that, it's not only is Arjuna not flattering Krishna, Arjuna is not speaking entirely from his own conditioned, selfish, limited perspective. He's glorifying Krishna and speaking with Krishna by the grace of Krishna as well, meaning it's not entirely Arjuna that's speaking here. It's what Krishna is eliciting from Arjuna, Arjuna is allowing to be elicited. The term that comes to mind is Tao, Taoist. Arjuna is with the flow here. There's not a divide between Arjuna and Krishna. They are different people, but in this conversation, there is a thread unifying them together, and Arjuna is staying in that thread by the grace of Krishna. And I'm glad I just said thread, because next Prabhupada talks about the parampara system, which is literally a thread or a river of succession. And you must be in this parampara. You must be in the thread. You must be strung on the thread as one of the pearls. It is not possible by academic education. That reminds me of all the devotees who spend so much time memorizing verses. That's an academic exercise. Not always. I mean, it's spiritual as well. But if you're if you're doing that and it's not working, then you should probably stop doing it or change how you're doing it. Then again, I feel like it can't not work. I think that's why it's such a common activity among Hindus and Buddhists as well, chanting mantras and remembering mantras, because it does condition your mind, your consciousness to have those words and terms and holy names reverberating throughout your consciousness a lot. But my point is, how mechanical is that? Because if it's a dry mechanical process, that doesn't work. That's the reason why academic education does not work. It's dry. It's lacking the heart and the juice of what does work, which is association with a devotee, a bona fide spiritual master, or in my case, and your case too, if you're reading along with me, a bona fide scripture. So this Gita, as written by a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, it's not that much different reading it and being next to Prabhupada as he's, saying it in his dictaphone. It's kind of the same thing. So it really is association with the pure devotee if you're simply just reading this edition of the Bhagavad Gita. You may not be as able to experience the taste of that, but essentially, virtually, that's what's happening, I think. Verse 14. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the gods nor demons, O Lord, know thy personality. Arjuna is once again demonstrating how to be the ideal student and disciple of the Lord. He says, I totally accept all you have told me as truth. This is not the same as saying, I understand completely everything you have said, or that I have directly realized everything you have said. If those things are not true, and a student or disciple says those things, they are not being a good student, they are being a liar. And the only other thing this is a much shorter purport, it's one paragraph, and my notes here just say read the first sentence, and that's it. Prabhupada writes, Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demonic nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not even known by the demigods, so what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world, unquote. And then later, Prabhupada goes back into the parampara system. The Parampara system was lost. Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. And finally, the acceptance of Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Pause. This is a recurring theme that I'm talking about in these live streams. We are supposed to follow Krishna and also Arjuna as well. The way in which if you're a Gita junkie, a Gita thumper, as I am, we're not just following Krishna, we're following Krishna in the mood of Arjuna. That is the key to living the Bhagavad Gita. Likewise, if you want to live the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you would probably be following Lord Chaitanya in the mood of six Goswamis, Srila Prabhupada, etc. I don't know the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I've only read the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. But I do remember many times hearing Srila Prabhupada and his Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, talking not just reverentially, but practically that we are all following the six Goswamis, that they are the sort of apostles, if you will, of Lord Chaitanya. So their mood, the way in which they followed and practiced Krishna consciousness under and with the physical presence of Lord Chaitanya, that's how everyone in this parampara should be doing it. And yet at the same time, that was 500 years ago. So it's probably difficult for most of us to directly do that. But Srila Prabhupada was only 50 years ago, physically present. That's much closer, infinitely more attainable, accessible. I mean, in English, Prabhupada did everything in English. His own kind of English too, I might add. It's not fully American English. It's not fully British English. It's not fully Indian English either. It's really Acharya English. It's really his own style of English that he learned from his Srila Prabhupada, which is basically above and beyond every other kind of English you'll ever encounter. Which is one of the many reasons I love these books. I mean, it's the golden standard for not just how to translate an ancient text into modern English, but just how to be technical and authoritative and compassionate and educational in English. I should get water. Time check. 20 minutes. Perfect. Okay. I forgot what I just said, but it doesn't matter. Well, moving on to verse 15. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own potencies, O origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, O supreme person, Lord of the universe. Excuse me. I'm trying to just maintain my voice to finish up here. This is one of the best purports I remember reading in a long time. And I'm going to read most of it. It starts on the next page if you're in the deluxe edition. So there's 2 paragraphs. In the first paragraph just continues with you should be, associating as a disciple with other devotees. Don't be demonic or atheistic, obviously. But then in the second paragraph, on the next page, I'll read the whole thing. It's starting with yet. So, but just one sentence before that. Sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagavan, or they accept his authority. Yet, many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as Purushottama, the Supreme Person, the Father of all living entities. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama. And if one comes to know him as the Father of all living entities, still one may not know him as the Supreme Controller. Therefore, he is addressed here as Bhutesha, the Supreme Controller of everyone. And even if one knows Krishna as the Supreme Controller of all living entities, still one may not know that he is the origin of all demigods. Therefore, he is addressed herein as Deva Deva, the worshipful God of all demigods. And even if one knows him as the worshipful God of all demigods, one may not know that he is the supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, he is addressed as Jagatpati. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of Arjuna, and we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. So that final sentence of the purport, I think, is the perfect summary and purpose of this verse cluster. Krishna is using Arjuna to show us, to show his fans, friends, students, disciples, his people, how to be his people. And Arjuna is the golden standard here. So exactly as Arjuna is doing it, we should be doing it too. Emulate. It's a very good word Prabhupada used. We should emulate Arjuna. Now, why is this such a beautiful purport? Prabhupada is not kidding. He's not being rhetorical when he says addressed here as Bhutesha and Purushottama and Deva Deva. Those words are all in the verse, in the Sanskrit. The second line is Vetatvam Purushottama. Know you, O greatest of all persons. And then the third line is Bhuta Bhavan Bhutesha, O origin of everything, O Lord of everything. So that's really interesting. Bhuta Bhavana. I could really go into those words. Krishna is the origin of all the bhutas, of all the jivas, all the beings. And he is the Lord of all the bhutas. He is Bhutesha. He is the Deva of all devas. Deva Deva. It's actually easier in Sanskrit than English to say that, right? Jagatpate, Lord of the entire universe. Beautiful verse. In Sanskrit, this is one of these verses that you can just chant and sing and remember on and on. Arjuna is not theologically, philosophically, he's not saying much here. It's very simple. It's very theologically, there is a lot here going on here, because he is saying, "Behold, Supreme Lord, you are truly supreme." That's the philosophy. That's the logic of what he's saying, which is quite simple. God is great. Look at his greatness. It is so great. Logically, there's not much else going on here. But theologically, how exactly is he supreme? It's all hidden in the meanings of these words. But even still, it's not a theological statement. It's a devotional statement. Arjuna is using these words out of love, devotion, and service, i.e., bhakti. So once again, this verse you can chant and sing. It's best to do that, something like that with this kind of verse. It's, this academic thing that I'm doing now, discourse about it, is interesting, but it kind of misses the whole point. The first line is Svayam evat manat manam. Svayam evat manat manam. Svayam evat manat manam. Vedatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutisha deva deva jagatpate. Bhuta bhavana bhutisha deva deva jagatpate. That's just so beautiful. There's so much going on. It sounds so perfect. This is like why Sanskrit exists, so you can have verses like this. Svayam evat manat manam vetatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutisha deva deva jagatpate. So beautiful. Svayam evat manat manam vetatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. So beautiful. That's it today from Vidyananda Das, Hridayananda Maharaj Das, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis everywhere. Have a good one. See you next time. Annyeonghaseyo.